Hey everybody, Pat Mesiti here, and just waiting for some people to jump on. It's about 10 to 4 here in Brisbane, nearly 5 o'clock elsewhere. And I want to speak to you about the bizarre situation that is unfolding on a daily basis on many levels. Now, if you could please tell people, hey, we're on. I'd really appreciate it if you got word out. Thanks, Brent, for joining us. Please get word out. Hey, we're on. Pat's live. I want to share some things. Not going to be a long chat, but there really is a bizarre situation. Thank you, Andrew, for being on. If you guys could all let people know, everyone just get out there right now. Say, Pat's on. This is a very important talk. Thank you, Tracy, for joining us. And appreciate any supportive commentary today. I'm not going to get up there and jump yelling and screaming. I just want to talk to you as what's going on. Hey, Deb, good to see you there. Great to see you there. Jenny as well. These are the only ones I can see up there. Of course, there's many others streaming in, and thank you, Moses, for being there. Bizarre situations, spiritually, but let me just say, economically, spiritually, parentally, which I want to get to that as well, but also for women. It seems to me that women are the endangered species. Women seem to have lost every right, from going to a toilet, let me be frank, to being called woman, to being called mother. You're what, just a chest feeder now? And great to see Belinda, Vicky, so many others come. And shout out to everybody, Barbara. Get people on. I want to share this today. And look, I'm a father of 3 daughters. And quite frankly, I'm going to be right up front. And I get in trouble when I say this, but I don't care what you want to be. But people must never be allowed to have their rights taken from them. Women, even gay people, they're allowed to have their own rights. Trans people, they're allowed to have their rights. Believers, allowed to have their rights. God gave everybody a free will. And that's how God made us. But you can always tell when something is bizarre by the amount of control and the rhetoric in the media. And I want to address this, number one, women right now. So Posey Parker comes out and has women's rights rallies, only to have it attacked, only to try and have it cancelled, only to have violently, aggressively abused by the likes of Lydia Thorpe, by Dan Andrews, who seems to be hell-bent on flying all kinds of flags out there. But yet, women don't seem to have a voice. And when a feminist, who, by the way, finally one of them steps out and says, this is wrong. You can't take away who we are to establish who you are. At what point is this going to stop? You can't cancel white Australia to establish Indigenous Australia even more. Just like you can't cancel, wipe out Indigenous Australia to establish what white Australia is. This is bizarre. And none of it makes sense. This is why it is pure evil. I can't follow science that basically doesn't make sense. And I don't want to get into all that. We've been through all that in the last couple of years. But science that says a biological man is a female, it doesn't make sense. I'm not attacking what you want to be. I'm not. Hear me. That's one bizarre situation. Let me just say this. When women's rights to be who they are, to be called a birthing parent rather than mother, where are the men in our country standing up with some intestinal fortitude? I'd like to use another word, but I'll get in trouble from my spiritual mentors. Where are they? Where are they? Where are the parents that we used to have? Today, I saw a video of a group of parents watching some thing out there doing this striptease pole dance thing while children are there. Listen, when you raise children in a sexualized environment, you are grooming them. You don't have that right. But yet parents, Australian parents, and all over the world, are sacrificing their children at the altar of a Jezebel, Ahab, demonic spirits. And I knew this was going to happen. I predicted it a couple of years ago. The worship of, when sex is worshipped, children become the victims. And again, I'm not telling you that you can't be what you want to be and practice what you want to practice. I'm not saying you can't. What I'm saying to you is that it is dangerous and bizarre. Completely bizarre. Makes no sense. In the animal kingdom, parents protect their children. We sacrifice. That's one. The bizarre situation with our children. The bizarre situation with women. Dan Andrews can stick up for everybody's rights except two groups of people, Christians and women. And Albanese is no different. And where the heck is the church right now? They're too busy hiding because a lefty gets up there and exposes stuff financially. Now they're all running and hiding. Same thing they did during the pandemic. Does my head in. Absolutely does my head in. Now, here's the thing. The other night in Sydney, Mark Latham was invited at a church to speak. People that I know were there, and I can't say who. I got a text while this was happening, and they said to me, you watch how the media turn this. Number one, Christians have got a right to worship. Number two, you don't, in the LGBTQ, ABCD alphabet community, have a right to block the entrance to a house of worship. Number three, it was not a Mark Latham event. Mark's a great man, and by the way, does more for Christian values and conservative values than any one of these preachers that I hear on a pulpit on a Sunday morning. Well, actually, I don't hear them. They're not worth hearing. Well, after these, I'll leave it alone. And I'm talking about the Aussie ones that are on TV, on all the Christian channels. Weak, woke, and impotent. But they go to a rally, watch this, they break and burn a crucifix. Now, I'm not condoning violence at all. At all. But I dare you to do that at a mosque. I dare you. And of course, I say, the reason why they do it is because we're too old to turn the other cheek. And when the Christian people get provoked, and one or two might retaliate, what does the media do? They spin it. You never heard of the burnt crucifix. You never heard of the broken crucifix. You never heard of the blockades that they created. You never saw how they were people being vilified. We have a damn right to free speech and what goes on in our churches. You want to be welcome there, but you don't want to let us in there. You see, the intolerant left with the crazy left-wing media create these bizarre things where you have lost your right to opinion, lost your right to a voice. Except, of course, if you want to get behind Albanese's one, which has got so many loopholes in it. I was reading through some of the stuff. Half the things he's proposing we already have. And many of our Indigenous leaders that are already there say we've got this in place. It is bizarre. You see, these crazy, and I will use the word Naziist tactics, are supported by the likes of the Dan Andrews, by the likes of Palachuk up here, and by the silence of a weak, woke church. As one of my Lebanese friends says, he said, Pat, it's taken us lebs to say something. And what I see is people of the Catholic faith, they're the ones making a stand. The Pentecostals, Baptists, the Anglicans are singing songs about victory that they can't even enforce in their own lives. It is bizarre. The bizarre situation when it comes to the Trump, Mr. Trump. You got a Soros-backed governor, a Soros-backed area of New York. Check me out, see if I'm wrong. Even Governor DeSantis says this guy is a Soros-backed individual and it's politically driven. Now today, we find out that the jury meeting, it was cancelled. All of a sudden, cancelled. And when a guy like Trump says, we've got to take back our nation, what do? They spin it. They spin it. Do you know, there's a thing in psychology called projection. And oftentimes the very thing you accuse other people of, you are projecting on yourself. So all these people out there that are trying to get Trump, trying to block your rights, trying to block your freedoms, and then they want inclusion, and they say you've got to be tolerant, and they say you've got to be, tolerant, you've got to be inclusive. They do the very opposite. They want freedom of voice, but don't want you to have freedom of voice. It is bizarre. It is bizarre. It is an orchestrated game plan. I believe it is an orchestrated global agenda that is pushed by demonic forces through people that are opening themselves up to these things. The bizarre situation unfolding behind us with the voice. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. And you got Dutton getting up there. I mean, God help us. The only reason why One Nation and all those other people, we need them, is because the Liberal Party's not doing what they're supposed to do. And by the way, in New South Wales, get out there and vote with an open book, and vote with values. I certainly wouldn't be voting for that Green called Keane down there. King Green, I call him. King Green. All of this stuff is virtual signalling that they're doing, which does nothing to help the average Australian. And parents that allow their children. You know, what happened the other night at that church? The violence is wrong. But people have had enough. We want to be able to go to our houses of worship and worship. Catholic, Mennonite, Anglican, Pentecostal, Baptist, without some crazy screaming numbnut blocking my entrance. And then the media, 7, 9, 10 and all the rest of them, wasn't a Mark Latham there at all. He was a speaker, invited. But they twist it, and it is bizarre. Why all of this fake news? Let me go on. Bizarre situation unfolding with Trump. Bizarre situation with this virtual signaling. Bizarre situation when it comes to women. Bizarre when it comes to children. Now let's get back to your economics. Bizarre. When Silicon Valley Bank went bust, the second largest bank failure ever. Soon it was followed by another bank, and then another one. Then we go to Europe. Credit Suisse buy out, the biggest bank, USB, buy out another bank in Europe. What was not told was when customers tried to get their money out of Silicon Valley Bank, guess what? The bank called the cops. When this stuff starts to happen, nobody sees it coming. But I can tell you, it never just happens. It's a slide. The best thing you can do is prepare. Right now, they said, okay, right now what they're basically saying is that, or let me go back in history. When Lehman Brothers collapsed, they said it was an isolated incident, and we know it wasn't. In fact, the Lehman Brothers led to another crash, which led to the biggest financial crisis in history up to this point. But the contagious effect fueled the collapse of 3 banks, and also now in Europe. You have not seen the last of this. More pain is coming. And I don't care what the media says and what our politicians say. They did say that inflation was transitory and that Silicon Valley was one of the best banks, one of the most secure banks, but we haven't seen none of that is true. Now, you and I have to protect ourselves. We've got to protect our women. We've got to protect our children. And we've got to protect our finances. And that doesn't mean coming out, and please don't misinterpret, all guns blazing, firing, taking to the streets. It means you've got to take responsibility. They are lying to you. They are lying to you. Biden's $7 trillion budget would add $20 trillion to the national debt in America in the next 10 years. More inflation, more interest rate hikes, more bank failures. Let me go on because I want to make sure I'm giving you some good stats. I know and I feel in my heart what's about to happen. And quite frankly, I'm not scared of it. When on International Women's Day, the largest single bank was collapsing and depositors couldn't get their money, a trans woman was honoured. That was the big news. The economy is falling apart and they're virtual signaling. I'm going to tell you straight, folks. The government is not coming to save you. Labor, Liberal, or anyone. They're not coming to save your family. They're not coming to save your finances. They're not coming to save your wallet. Now, for the last couple of years, I've been saying, get up to speed. A few months ago, I had a great presenter, Troy Harris, come in and did a marvelous presentation, as we had last month on decentralized banking. Now, in the next 2 months, I have one of America's largest political, cultural trend figures coming. I won't announce it till we get close to it. And then I have one of Australia's leading political, journalistic, economic mind, one of the greatest minds. You all know this name. Just signed up to come and speak for our community. But next Wednesday, I've invited my friend Troy to come back. We can get all freaked out by bots and everything. I'm not scared at all. Because when you know what you're doing, you remove the fear. False prophets and false information spreads fear. You say, oh, Pat, it seems like you're using a lot of fear. No, what I'm doing is making you aware so you can take action. I said to my wife just the other day, tell me some of the predictions I made and which ones didn't come true. What was supposed to protect us from a disease didn't. What was supposed to stop spread didn't. I predicted what would happen to the Morrison government. And I'm telling you right now, you've got to prepare. You've got to put a hedge around your mind, a hedge around your heart, a hedge around your family, and a hedge around your wallet. Because the government loves to use your money. The banks own your money. Just try and get money out of a bank without some teller inquiring, what's it for, fill out a form, yada, 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 yada. Why? It's my money. Now, next Wednesday, I am having a special event with what I believe to be one of the smartest minds and a real freedom fighter as well on how to use current intelligence to create wealth. They took a photo of me using my bot. Everyone's scared of bots, but you can learn. And just like we had to learn how to use emails, learn how to use iPhones, you gotta learn about this new way to protect yourself financially that the banks can't touch. And that government has no ability to come over the top, give you one in the back of the head, and take your money. A system where you're free to own your own money. People say, oh, Pat, you come on here and you promote these videos. Yes, because ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is broke. Ignorance is disastrous. Education isn't expensive. Ignorance is. And again, you don't have to be part of it. But I'm telling you, folks, in the midst of all this bad news, you can prepare yourself. So Wednesday, I will put a link in here. It's a special Zoom call on how you can use current trends to help build great assets. One of my young students said, if I keep going along with the trajectory that I've got right now, and he's only been doing this a month, I'll be a multi-millionaire in 2 years from something he just learned 2 months ago. Are you hearing me, folks? You got to protect your family, your finance, your faith, your future, and yourself. And the best way to do that is to prepare, pray, and predict and prophesy. I know for all of you out there, your best financial days are ahead of you if you will look and learn and listen. I know for many of us, the greatest days spiritually are ahead of us because the pendulum can only swing so far to the left and then God will swing it back. But you've got to prepare. So I'm going to put a link in. Our Zoom only allows us, we grew it the other month to a couple of thousand for 500. Once those 500 spots are gone, they're gone. Now we'll be on Wednesday morning, 11 a.m. Sydney time, and Wednesday night at 7 p.m. That's next Wednesday. But you've got to, listen, don't go register if you're not going to show up. You're going to take a spot. This Sunday morning on Reborn, you want to be in tune because I have Mark Driscoll speaking on the subject of a prophetic word about progressive wokeness. And on Sunday, now you got to watch it to get it. I'm not putting the link up here and all that. Mark has allowed everyone that watches to click on a link, which we'll put up on Sunday, and you get his 140-page study guide and book on what he's just written, his latest book, and he's given it away free of charge. That's this coming Sunday. So put something in your calendar. Sunday morning, 9 a.m. City time, Mark, just Wednesday, put it in your calendar. Go over right now, click on this link. I'll put it in the chat as well. Register for Wednesday. Register for Wednesday. It will change your life. I'm already seeing its effect in our lives and what we've been able to do in just a short matter of time, we're seeing a steady this. What's the bank giving you? What's the government giving you? I want to thank you all for being on, Darren and Kerry and Cheryl and David Shirtliff. Great to have you there, David, and Linda, and so many others that are on here today. And Mark, Graham, thank you. And Sunsky, great. Thank you, Josephine, Mario, Harry, Dean. Thank you, Jane. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Troy. Thank you, Sandra. So many of you on here. Thank you, Tanya. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Anita. Thank you, Val. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everybody. And again, please be aware that there are people out there trying to copy who we are. We've got ourselves verified, got the blue tick. Don't buy into people that are inboxing you directly, pretending it's me. It's not me. I don't inbox people directly and say, "Oh, hey Mark, how you going? Can I mentor you, or would you like to know?" We don't do that. We do it on our email. We do it on our rants here. We only send out texts or things like that when people have registered for things for us. But I don't directly inbox people saying, "Hey, would you like to be trained on this or that or the other thing?" I don't do that. This is where I do it. The links are on here. And by the way, folks, all of our platforms and some of the ones we're creating in the future, we're working on some stuff right now, will be posted, and they're all in our links, okay? So anyway, please register for next Wednesday. You've got to be prepared, folks. We've got to protect our women, got to protect our children, got to protect our faith, got to protect our finances. We cannot just lay down. I want to thank you all for watching today. Please like and subscribe if you're not part of our YouTube channel. Thank you for all your support. Thank you for all your love. Thank you for all your prayers. Thank you for all your protection of this platform, because I know some of you do a lot of fighting for us when we get a few people like that are a little bit crazy. So thank you very much. I know this rant was a bit longer than usual, but there's a bizarre situation going on, and it's not just here, it's global. So let's do something about it. Best we can do is protect and prepare. God bless you and thank you.